Hey, what is going on everybody? It's Ahead and welcome to a new Q&A. Now before we get into the questions, I first wanted to say that if you haven't asked any questions yet, and you still want to do so, then be sure to leave them in the comment section down below, and then I'll make sure to answer your questions in one of my future videos. So the first question comes from the Sam111, and he asked me, if you get a PlayStation, will it be the PS3 or the PS4? So at this point in time, I only have the Xbox 360. I won't be buying a PS3, but I will be buying a PS4. In fact, I will be buying both next-gen consoles, both the PS4 and the Xbox One, just to make sure that I don't have to miss out on exclusives like The Last of Us. I honestly really wanted to play that game, I just couldn't, and I don't want that to happen again. But as most of you will probably know, I actually started working 3 weeks ago. I work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week right now. I'm actually working full time, so I should have enough money to simply buy both next-gen consoles. That is exactly what I'll be doing. Anyway, the next question comes from Stop Playing 98, and he asked me, how often do you use low and how often do you use high score streaks within Black Ops 2? So the answer to that is pretty simple. I'm pretty sure that most of you will know this already, but I tend to use the lower to medium end score streaks quite a lot. I want to say about 95% of the time, maybe 90. I'm not entirely sure about that, but I personally just don't really like rocking the higher end score streaks. I usually rock the UAV, then the lightning strike, and then the VSAT or the stealth chopper, or the UAV, the 100 kilo drone, and then the lightning strike. I personally just don't really like rocking score streaks like the lodestar or the chopper or even the swarm or the dogs. I mean, they're fun to get, but in all honesty, I usually play team deathmatch, so getting higher end score streaks is just in general pretty tough as well. Plus, you know, I personally prefer getting gun kills over getting kills with score streaks, just because getting gun kills seems to be more satisfying to me. I honestly prefer getting kills with my weapons over getting kills with something like a lightning strike or a stealth chopper or lodestar or just a regular chopper. I personally just prefer, you know, using my gun pretty much. Anyway, the next question comes from 2001 Alhamsa, and he asked me, can you give me some tips on how to get long shots with the Type 25? So getting long shots with the Type 25, or just getting long shots in general, isn't the hardest thing to do. I would first off recommend you to actually play Hardcore Domination or either Hardcore Kill Confirmed. I personally wouldn't really recommend you to play Hardcore Team Deathmatch, just because everybody seems to be camping within Hardcore Team Deathmatch, just because there is no objective. There is no reason why it would move, you die very easily, so people genuinely don't really tend to walk within that game out, and I personally hate playing against players like that, so that's why I personally wouldn't really recommend you to play Hardcore Team Deathmatch. But getting long shots within Hardcore is a lot easier than getting long shots within Core, just because you only have to hit your opponent either once or twice, sometimes 3 times, but it doesn't really seem to be happening too much. Anyway, you just gotta aim for those maps like Yemen or Turbine, just those larger maps pretty much. What you want to do then is you want to stick to the outsides of the map, just, you know, pick your position pretty much. I know it seems a little bit cheap, it seems a little bit newbie, but if you just camp for a while, you're definitely going to be getting quite a lot of long shots within one game. I mean, you don't have to be camping, you don't have to be sitting in a corner or something like that. But you just gotta make sure that you patrol a certain area with a lot of long lines of sight pretty much, and then you will be getting a ton of long shots. Anyway, the next question comes from Moritz, and he asked me, will you ever start a Pokemon Let's Play? So I'm not entirely sure about that one actually. I mean, I wouldn't bet on it. I personally haven't played Pokemon for a very long time actually. The last Pokemon that I played was actually Pokemon Diamond, and I never really finished that game. The first Pokemon that I played, on the other hand, was actually Pokemon Yellow. That is back in the Game Boy Color days, for those of you that don't know. That was actually the first Pokemon game that I played. That one was actually really challenging because you started out with a Pikachu instead of something easy like a Squirtle or a Bulbasaur. I mean, Charmander was a pretty challenging Pokemon to start off with as well, but definitely not as challenging as actually starting out with a Pikachu within Pokemon Yellow, because actually defeating Brock is probably the hardest thing you'll ever have to do within that game. That is actually really hard. At some point, I actually caught, you know, 4 different Pokemon. I caught a Nidoran, a Mankey, a Caterpie, and a Pidgey. I trained those Pokemon for about 10 hours. Not 10 hours each, I just basically was trained for about 10 hours. Just in the hope that I would defeat Brock right away. If I'm not mistaken, I did manage to actually defeat him right away. But I'm telling you, that was actually really hard to do. Anyway, after that, I actually bought my Game Boy Advance with that. I also got Pokemon Leaf Green. Later on, I also bought Pokemon Emeralds. And that is pretty much when my Pokemon days stopped. That is basically when I just stopped playing Pokemon. That's when I wasn't really into it anymore. And then a couple of years later, I actually tried playing Pokemon Diamond. That has been a couple of years ago now actually, but I just really never got into that game again. So I probably won't be starting a Pokemon X or Y Let's Play, but you know, you never know. I honestly don't know what I'll be doing a year from now. Anyway guys, that was it for this Q&A. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating would as always be very much appreciated. If not, that is of course cool as well. If we could hit 400 likes again, then that would be freaking amazing. Like over the last couple of days, you guys have been supporting my videos tremendously, and I just wanted to say thank you for that. Hopefully you guys will keep it up. Anyway, with that said, on the screen right now is my latest video, and this is actually Black Ops 2 Live episode 35. If you haven't checked out that video yet and you are interested in checking it out, then be sure to do so. With that said, I hope you have enjoyed, and I hope to see some of you next time. Take it easy.